Greetings exiles, and welcome to part 2 of this experiment. With Aether and Exarch dead, it's time to get some upgrades and actually turn this build into a Frostmage build. However, to do that, we need some currency, so let's farm it, shall we? I have really been enjoying expedition farming, especially inside of the mirages, and the loot honestly has been great so far. Now, with our newly obtained currency, it's time to obtain a bunch of crucial items for the build, and go over what I call the master plan. However, we have one very crucial step to do first: become a Frostmage. Thankfully, by the end of the weekend, the price of Frostmage support had dropped quite a bit. What Frostmage allows us to do is gain added cold damage equal to a percentage of our reserved maximum mana. It's like Archmage support, but with reserved mana instead of unreserved. Next up, I need more jewel sockets, so we pick ourselves up an 8 passive cluster jewel, and importantly, this one will give us Seal Mender, giving us faster Unleash stacks back. I want to try out the Oshabi Bloodline Ascendancy and go Unleash stacking, so Seal Mender will help us get our Unleash stacks back faster. Next up, we pick up a Light of Meaning with increased energy shield. This one is kind of self-explanatory, we just get a lot of ES from it. And finally, to deal with the increased mana cost from Frostmage support, we upgrade our rings, our amulet, and we quality up our inspiration support for more reduced mana cost. And with a couple more changes to our passive tree, I think we're overall doing pretty good at this point. Although we're not as tanky as I would like to be at this point, with 60-50 block with Rumi's Concoction up, and about 6 to 7,000 energy shield, I think we're overall doing pretty good. I also forgot to mention it in the last video, but one thing I would like to highlight are the glove implicits. Getting cold exposure on hit on your gloves will help out a lot, due to the Elementalist Ascendancy node, while the free spread will help out with things like Expedition and just keeping you alive in general. However, the upgrades don't stop there. We go ahead and pick ourselves up a nice Twilight Regalia with a bunch of ES and resistances, and then after spending about 1.6k fusings on it, we finally 6-link it. Then we simply slap on some Eldritch currency until we get the affixes that we want, and job's done. We have a 6-link. Now we're almost done with upgrading the build. However, there is still one crucial component that we're missing. The Coward's Legacy is a unique belt that curses you with vulnerability, but while you're cursed with vulnerability, you also count as low life. Thankfully, in my day-to-day life, I don't need a belt for that, but in PoE, this would allow us to allocate things like Pain Attunement while we are CI. However, being permanently cursed with vulnerability kind of sucks, especially considering we are already pretty low on our physical damage mitigation. Therefore, we are going to run 3D's Veil as our helmet. If you equip a magic ring in the right slot, you are hexproof. Alongside that, damage of enemies hitting you is also unlucky. It also gives us a bunch of resistance and a +2 to level of socketed gems, which we can use for something fun later. Then all we have to do is equip a magic ring in our right ring slot, and we're sorted. And for the final bit, we pick up an enhanced support, throw it into our helmet so it gains the +2, and then we use it for our golem buff effect. The first step of the master plan is finally over, and what the rest entails we'll come back to later in the video. We haven't really begun scaling our mana for Frostmage support just yet, at least not to the levels where I would like it to be, but I think what we have right now is acceptable, and I want to get my remaining Voidstones. Let's get to it. And with those fights out of the way, we had obtained all 4 Voidstones. For the Maven fight here at the end, I was trying out Glacial Cascade of the Fissure, but honestly, I don't really think you need it. Regular Glacial Cascade will do just fine. Overall, I'm pretty happy with our Voidstone progression up to this point. Every fight except that one Incarnation fight was deathless, and even during mapping, I'm not dying very often. By no means is this build hardcore viable, but considering this is an experiment and I'm making things up as I go, I'm pretty happy with the results so far. This was the Atlas tree I was running for the first couple of days of the league, and these were the scarabs that I used. It's a very basic Expedition and Jund setup, where I just run safe houses and Expedition. Mirage has been very nice for it. I really enjoy doing Mirage combined with Expedition, so try it out if you want. The scarab should be incredibly cheap as well. The only downside that I have with it is the sheer amount of clicking that you have to do with Tujin. As for the Syndicate, this is my Betrayal board setup. I don't really know if this is the best, but I like Gravicius in Transport, and overall I enjoy trying to get some Harvest and some Amber Scarabs, so why not? Hit that Fled is in there in case I get some really good unique Falborns, but no luck so far. While I was running my Voidstones, I was considering the next step in the master plan, and what I need to do to achieve it. There's still quite a few steps left, however, before we get to that point, so first we buy ourselves a quick jewel upgrade. Nothing fancy, just some attack block, maximum energy shield and resistances. We also pick ourselves up a greater unleash support, a key part of the puzzle. And finally another cluster jewel, this time with Sealmender and Mage Hunter, giving us a little bit of spell block extra. Now at this point in the build, I did end up buying a Forbidden Flesh and Flame with Void Beacon, and while it was very helpful for Expedition, I did end up later dropping these again and just replaced them with regular jewels. Then, inspired by my friends in global chat, we decided it was a good time to gamble some gems with the new skill coins. Never lucky. While the concentrated effect gem is honestly kinda nice for damage, Glacial Cascade also heavily benefits from a lot of AoE, and therefore I decided not to run it. However, after thinking it over a little bit more, I came to the conclusion that I probably want some green support gems instead. And after being spurred on by my friends to make one more bad decision, we decided, why not? Just one more. Nice. Icebite support actually works very well for us, since it gives us a way to generate frenzy charges while just mapping around, and also gives us a bit of extra freeze chance, which I don't mind. It's not the best, but it's not bad, so decided to keep it for now and just run with that. Or so I'd like to say, because as soon as my other gems hit level 20, I decided it was time for more. Even better. Hypothermia is a gem that I would like to keep in there as well, but it honestly does give a lot of damage and it does free up a gem slot, so why not? I ended up replacing this with increased area of effect support actually, even though it gives basically no damage increase, it's just really nice to have for more Glacial Cascade AoE. And on the screen now, I will go over my current gem setup. I forgot to show the main link, but it is Glacial Cascade, Frostmage, Greater Unleash, increased area of effect, Inspiration, and Arcane Surge support. As we are spending a lot of mana, it's basically guaranteed. The observant among you might have noticed that we are playing Frostmage support, but we don't actually have a lot of mana stacking going on. That's going to be one of the things that we're going to be fixing in the next part. However, the master plan also calls for one more change to the build. One more unique item, and that unique item is Venarius' Astrolabe. Thank you very much for watching, stay tuned for part 3, I hope you enjoy your day, and until next time, peace!